If you've been on Instagram or YouTube in the last 6 months, you've probably seen dozens of people claiming that they're running a cleaning company, doing $10,000, $30,000, $50,000 plus months. But here's what almost none of them are telling you. And I know because I built my own company to over $40,000 a month in under 9 months, and have now helped hundreds of other people do versions of the same thing. Many of them hitting 10,000 in under 120 days while keeping their W-2. So today I'm going to break down whether starting a remote cleaning business in 2026 is actually worth it for someone who's making $100,000 to $250,000 at a corporate job. I'm going to give you the unfiltered truth, which is the good, the bad, the expensive mistakes that kill most of these businesses before they even hit $10,000 a month. Before I get into anything, quick note, these numbers or any numbers that I share with you are from my own business or from clients that I work with inside Growth Cleaning. Your results obviously will depend entirely on the work that you put in. There's no guarantee. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. So let's first start with why home cleaning even works to begin with. The cleaning industry itself is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's projected to grow every single year. One of the main drivers of this is that people are busier. There's dual income households that are now on the rise and becoming a norm, and that demand is not going away. As a result, more people are living in their homes, more people are prioritizing their homes, which means it's getting dirtier and they need help doing it because they don't have as much time because both parties are working. And as you know, cleaning is evergreen. It's never going to go out of demand or style. It always is something that needs to be maintained. Not only that, it's not going to get replaced by AI anytime soon, right? Blue collar work is really going to be protected from the knowledge-based work that is getting wiped out as an industry right now in real time. Now, the part that I think most people will miss is the reason this works for someone who is in a corporate job is not because cleaning is some like magical industry. To me, it's because the operator level competition is weak. Most cleaning companies in your city or adjacent cities are run by someone who used to clean and decided to start a business. They're an operator who either got promoted to an owner. They have literally no marketing experience or systems, no hiring systems, no follow-up systems. They run on referral. To me, it's just a referral and prayer business. It's not actually a business. So a lot of your competitors, to me, are going to be gone in the next 3 to 5 years, not because the market shrank, but because they never actually built the business. They just built a small job for themselves with a couple extra steps. So if you can show up with the same skill set and execution level that you already have at your corporate job, you already have systems, processes, hiring, KPIs, and you have to keep track of them, otherwise you lose your job. That kind of profile is someone that's going to lap all of those other unsophisticated operators. The other thing that people will probably not realize is the market is literally enormous. In my city alone, there are literally millions of homes and probably hundreds of cleaning companies. And I have clients in markets that they swear are saturated, so the big metros of the United States or even Canada, who hit $10,000 in under 120 days. So even if a market has $50,000 households, my point in saying that is that there is plenty of opportunity. It's a fragmented market. You don't need to dominate. You just need a sliver to be very successful. And here's where most people will get it wrong. They think because the opportunity is real, starting will be easy. But even saying that, here's what most people will get wrong. They think, okay, this makes all sense. This opportunity is real. This is going to be easy. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's probably the biggest lie in the space. It's not going to be easy. It is a proven method, but by no means it's going to be easy. Now, this is the part most people in the space won't really tell you because they usually haven't had a real corporate job. The skills you've been using for the last 5, 10, 15 years at your job are the exact skills this business needs. If you have project management skills, hiring, firing, sales, P&L, building SOPs, building processes, sending emails that are professional, none of these things are impressive at your job because literally everyone around you can do it. And in the cleaning industry, those skills are rare. Again, your competition is someone who has never built a hiring process, never tracked a customer acquisition cost, never written a SOP before. You've done all of that in some way or fashion, probably last week. The gap between your professional baseline and the average cleaner owner is enormous, and you've been undervaluing it because corporate culture trained you to. In addition to that, I think the W-2 gives you something else that most cleaning operators don't have, which is a paycheck while you build. You don't have to take the first bad client just to make rent. You don't have to underprice. You don't have to panic. You can run this business the right way for 6 months because everything's already covered by your job. The patience then becomes the moat because you're making the right decision, not the decision that has to be made based on your circumstances. Now, I know I've mentioned this before on the channel, but McDonald's, the guy who started McDonald's, Ray Kroc, he never flipped a burger, right? That's the entire framing. I want you to hold on to the rest of this video because the reason that most cleaning companies are capping at under 10,000 a month is because the owner is literally still very much in the business. They're going to be the cleaner, the dispatcher, the customer service rep, the sales rep, the bookkeeper. This is the definition of working in the business, not on the business. And when I first started, I literally made the decision that I was never going to clean a single house, not one. I still haven't to this day, not even as a backup, not even as an emergency, not just this one time, because the second the owner gets in the field, the business stops growing. I built the company remote from day one. You don't have to do that. But with that in mind, the cleaners were in the field. I was technically in the office/laptop, and that's the whole game. That's the structure that you need to be having. Now, if you're sitting right now thinking maybe I could do this, that's not an accident. This model was built for people exactly like you. I put together a program that walks you through every single step of launching and scaling this type of business from scratch, everything from your LLC all the way to getting your first clients and scaling all of it. So if you want the full roadmap and even maybe talking to our team about how we could help you, just click the first link in the description below. And now let's get back to the video and the 5 mistakes I see people do when they start this type of business. So mistake number 1, buying things you don't need. When someone starts a business, for some reason, people love spending money, thinking that spending money on a business means you're running the business better. So they will do things like renting an office, buying tons of equipment and supplies, maybe even a storage room. They'll build a nice custom website. They might even buy a bunch of branded clothes or even maybe a wrapped car. I'm here to tell you that you literally do not need any of that to get started to get a remote cleaning business going. You just need a basic website, a phone, a booking form, insurance, an LLC, and a cleaner. If you have those things, technically you can start. And I know it sounds like the bare minimum, but it quite literally can just be the bare minimum. Again, like what you should be focusing on in the beginning is, how do I get to cash flow positive? How do I get my first cleaner? How do I get my first client? Not how do I buy all this stuff so I can look like I'm running this legit business. Mistake number 2, not knowing your numbers. I think this is probably the most common thing that I work with clients, is really drilling down. Do you actually know your numbers? Because this one is actually the silent killer. If you can't tell me what your average ticket value is, your gross margin per job, how much does it cost to acquire a customer, your recurring revenue in a given month, you're literally not running a business. You are gambling. So you need to know these numbers inside and out. You need to be tracking these numbers daily, weekly, monthly. You need to know where things are trending, because if it's not measured, you will not be able to improve it. But if you do have these numbers, that is the beginning of really scaling profitably, because we just don't want to scale for the sake of scaling. We want to be profitably scaling, so it's worth the actual marginal improvement of our efforts. Now, you don't need any fancy systems. Obviously, you can do that, but you can literally just do this with a Google Sheet. Every dollar in and out, that can be a habit you install into your business, and that'll separate you from the other people who eventually will quit because they don't know what's going on. Mistake number 3, competing on price. Gone over this a couple times in the channel, but cleaning for the lowest price is literally the fastest way to have the worst customers possible. I never try to be the cheapest cleaning company in any market. My clients don't either. We want to position ourselves towards customers who literally value reliability, communication, quality service, not some customer that's hunting for the lowest price possible, because that person tends to be the worst client on fulfillment as well. They're the ones who micromanage your cleaners. They're the ones who haggle everything. They're the ones who start asking for more than what they're actually paying for and expecting more. So the expectations get very misaligned. And if you do this at scale, just imagine if you had one client, sure, you can deal with that. If you have 20, 30 of these types of clients, you're literally going to be running your business into the ground. So let your competitors fight for them and be okay with not getting that business. Mistake number 4, quitting too early. This is the one to me that hurts the most, because someone is going to start with great intention of wanting to get serious about business, getting serious about this venture. They're going to get some level of success. So they're going to have their first couple jobs, hire their first cleaner. But when something happens, which inevitably will happen in business, you're going to have a problem. That is what business is. It's just a laundry list of problems that need to get solved. And you get discouraged. And instead of that discouragement having a short-term effect, you let it drag out from 1 hour to 1 day to 1 week to 2 weeks to eventually I'm done. Because business does have a rhythm. What I would call that is really letting a small loss turn into a big loss. So when I see that happen with even clients, they see a loss as something that is a mountain when it's really just a little rock. And if you view it that way, you're going to inevitably quit. So when I look at my own personal journey, I didn't view everything as some big loss ever. Always viewed it as some small loss that was going to be over with, and I can move on to continuing to stack wins. So if you can give yourself the time to recover, to bounce back, to go through the ebbs and flows of entrepreneurship, because if we looked at a graph of like how your journey is going to be, it is not, hey, I start at this bottom left and I go to the upper right in a straight line. You're going to have jags in it. It's going to go up and down. It's never going to be straight. That's entrepreneurship. That's what you're signing up for. So if you go into it with that awareness, I think you give yourself patience, you give yourself time, give yourself a 120-day window, not a 2-week window when something goes bad. 120 days of pure effort. Don't care about the results. And if you lift your head up after that period of time, you're going to be in a great spot, but you have to stay committed the whole time. And the last mistake, number 5, is staying in the operator mindset. To me, this is what the constraint of every entrepreneur eventually runs into. The operator mindset says, I'll do the cleaning myself to save money or insert whatever activity and then hire later. The CEO mindset is, who's going to be able to do this job even if it costs me some margin? margin because the only way that this scales is if I'm never the bottleneck. So the clients that I work with, they're in that mindset. They're not going to let themselves get trapped in being the operator of the business forever. You're thinking constantly ahead in terms of bottleneck analysis of how do I get myself out of this current state of actions that I'm doing into higher leverage ones. Now, I want to quickly go over my own version of how I started. I had a corporate job. I built the business on the side. It was in the mornings, the nights, the lunches, the weekends, throughout the day when I could. Every pocket I could push the business forward, I was going to do it. The first job came within the first couple of weeks. I literally never cleaned it. I subcontracted it. By the second month, I was running consistent jobs every single week. By the fourth month, I had a big team of contractors, a booking system that was running without me with automations and systems in place. And by month 9, I was fully delegated out. I had a 40K per month business and I was working minimal hours per week. Now, the 5-hour per week number is the part that most people don't believe, but it is real, but only because I refused to be the operator continually. Every time something broke, my first question was not how do I fix it? It was what system would prevent this from happening again? Yes, it might have taken me a little bit longer to get that set up, but long term, as you keep doing that, you start to build leverage in the business, whether that's technology or labor. So after all that, the cost, the mistakes, the timeline, here's my honest answer on whether starting a remote cleaning business in 2026 is worth it for someone in a corporate seat right now. Yes, but only if you build it the right way. You got to build it remote. You can't get in the field. You got to start tracking your numbers. You got to have good processes and systems. You have to be in the CEO mindset. You need to be committed for 120 days before you judge anything, and do not have to quit your W-2 before the business is replacing a meaningful chunk of your own income. The whole point of this, for the type of person I typically work with, corporate professional, married, couple kids, wanting some level of freedom, but not wanting to gamble the entire farm on something, is that you do not have to choose between safety and freedom. You can build a second income while the first one is still paying your life. Then when the numbers say it's time and you're ready and you have the operational expertise, you can make that decision on your own from a place of strength and not fear. So if you watch this entire video, you're already doing more than most people who say they want to start a business are doing. If you're still interested and you might want to work with my team on building your own version of this, click the first link in the description below. I'm going to also have another video up here if you want a full breakdown of the model that goes into depth. It's going to be a longer video, but it should give you great context into how this actually plays out. Go check it out and I'll see you on the next one.